the cage built from options. You open a menu with 80 buttons, 5 tabs, and 3 pop-ups, and somehow you leave more tired than fed. Your calendar is full of approvals and quick choices, but your day feels owned by other people's dropdowns. More options often feel less free because the system turns choice into labor and then rents your attention to pay for it. In this sermon, choice means not the number of available options, but the lived capacity to select without being coerced by hidden costs, deadlines, and performance pressure. Abundance looks like freedom on a brochure because it advertises possibility. But in practice, abundance arrives inside constraints. Time is a hard constraint. The day has a fixed number of minutes. Cognition is a hard constraint. Attention is finite, and switching has a cost. Social context is a constraint too. Choices made in public are evaluated, stored, compared, and sometimes punished. Now put incentives inside those constraints and watch what happens. When a system can profit from your continued searching, it is rewarded for keeping you undecided but active. The feedback loop is simple. More options increase comparison. Comparison increases time on task. Time on task becomes the proxy for engagement, and engagement is rewarded. The system does not need to hate your piece to capture it. It only needs to be paid when you keep looking. This is where the trade-off shows itself. More options can raise the peak quality of an outcome, but they also raise the search cost and the regret cost. You gain the possibility of the best, and you inherit the burden of proving you didn't miss it. Optionality is not free. It invoices you in attention. Notice how quickly proxies enter. Under abundance, good becomes hard to define, so the system offers measurable substitutes: ratings, counts, streaks, badges, response times, and leaderboards. Those proxies are attractive because they are legible to dashboards and meetings, but proxies drift. They start as helpers and end as judges. Metric gaming follows naturally. Imagine a team asked to give customers more choice and measured on number of options shipped. The incentive is clear: increase the count. So options multiply. 3 nearly identical plans, a dozen toggles, endless configurations. The metric improves while the user experience collapses. A proxy, option count, replaces a value, clarity. Or consider a workplace where autonomy is promised, but performance is tracked through activity logs and rapid replies. People respond faster not because they are freer, but because the metric punishes silence. The proxy, responsiveness, starts standing in for competence, care, even loyalty. Abundance also shifts risk onto the chooser. When there is one path, failure is shared with the designer. When there are 100 paths, failure is individualized. That is an incentive too, just social instead of financial. It teaches people to keep searching, keep hedging, keep documenting. The system becomes an audit trail of choices rather than a support for living. So the mechanism is not mysterious. Constraints make choice costly, incentives monetize the search, proxies make the search governable, and the feedback loop rewards whatever keeps you in motion. Under these conditions, freedom gets redefined. It stops meaning I can act with intention and starts meaning I can optimize under surveillance. The chooser becomes a manager of risk, reputation, and regret. This is why abundance can quietly erode meaning. Meaning depends on commitment. Selecting something and letting other possibilities die without keeping them alive is background noise. But systems built on capture resist closure. They keep the door open because open doors are measurable. More clicks, more comparisons, more active users, more visible busyness. Responsibility also gets distorted. When every decision is framed as a personal selection among infinite alternatives, structural constraints disappear from the story. The workload, the time scarcity, the evaluation pressure, the design choices that created confusion, those become invisible externalities. The person carries the cost while the system claims neutrality. Attention is the main battleground here, because attention is what turns an option into a real choice. If attention is scattered, choice becomes reaction. If attention is rented out to metrics, choice becomes compliance. And when choice becomes compliance, the language of freedom remains, but the experience of freedom drains away. There is a reflection available that does not require new tools or new rules. Name one metric you currently serve. Response time, inbox 0, steps, streaks, approvals closed, items shipped, options offered. Then name one value that metric might be erasing when it becomes the judge. Patience, craft, privacy, rest, honesty, simplicity, loyalty to a single direction. Also name the constraint you keep pretending is flexible. Time, energy, reputation, money, context. The system gains power when constraints stay unspoken, because unspoken constraints feel like personal failure instead of structural reality. And finally, notice where abundance is being used as a substitute for commitment, where keeping options open is rewarded, and where closing an option would create calm but reduce the numbers a dashboard can celebrate. Choice grows thin when it is priced in attention and settled by proxies.